Hello again. Today I'm going to talk about zombie films, or why do zombies scare me. I'm not sure how long this video will go. I'm just making this up as I go along with this one. The interesting thing with zombies is I found that it's the one thing that scares me in movies. Most things in movies, serial killers, psycho killers, nothing really gets me there. I like watching horror movies, but none of them actually scare me. I just enjoy watching them. But zombies are the one thing that can get me. The zombies are the one thing that can, like, even a bad zombie movie can get me, because there's something irrational about zombies that do get under my skin in a strange way, and I thought it'd be good to make a video about it. Now, why do they do that? What's about them that does that to me is, well, for a start, fast moving zombies, the infected strain of the zombie plague thing, doesn't get me. I just think they're fast creatures who are not creepy, they're not anything, they're just fast moving things that can get shot. I mean, Zombieland films, they're comedies, and I can enjoy these comedies and not get a frisson of fear at all because of fast moving zombies. 28 days and weeks later, kind of the same thing, where I can enjoy them a lot more because they're fast moving zombies, and zombie films are fast moving ones. They just don't do it much for me. There's people running. It's not, it's kind of like you want the characters to get away, but you're not like anything. The slow moving zombies actually are the things that get me, because slow moving zombies are genuinely are dead people come back to life. And zombies from the older fashioned movies like White Zombie or I Walked with a Zombie or Plague of the Zombies, they don't get me either. They've a nice atmosphere to them, a nice frisson to them, but they don't actually scare me because they're people who are under hypnosis basically, and it's a certain trope that I enjoy, and it's creepy and atmospheric, but it's not scary. The Romero zombies get me though. The Romero zombies and the ones that do that get me. I mean, there are exceptions. I mean, Shaun of the Dead, because it's a comedy, there wasn't much threat there because they were never going to show you that much gore. And it was always played for laughs, so it always took away the edge of it all, so that didn't get me. Kind of a bit cartoonish, the zombies as well, so it didn't really do much for me. The Romero ones do. The Romero ones are just creepy as hell, because they are mindless creatures, and they are the dead, and that's what you're heading towards. Everybody you know, yourself, you're heading towards that zombie look of the dead. And you're going to die, and your bodies are going to be vacant, and that's probably what scares me about them. They're vacant. There's nothing there. It's like a body that's withered and died, and now comes back and is mindlessly chewing on guts and walking in a pack. And you can outrun zombies, but there's so many of them, they're going around for so long, and they're going to keep moving, and you have to stop and rest, and there's something unrelenting about them that I think fast moving zombies, they should be scarier, but they're not. You just think they're just like these creatures, but they don't seem to. I think the films don't follow their own rules, because a fast moving zombie apocalypse, you will not survive for very long. No matter how much you try to run, you might survive a couple of days, that'd be it. A slow moving one, people can survive for a long time, but it is creepy, and they do just move carefully and slowly, and they keep moving, and you don't know when they're going to come for you, and you can even rest and they can come. But it's also the image of them. The images, that's what you're heading towards. That's like, it's based on reality, but then it's given a supernatural twist of something's come back from the dead, basically, just to chew you up, and they don't care. Could be a loved one chewing your guts out, and that's what's creepy. It's just the idea of it. It's just creepy, and the image is just a home run for me. It's just like, yeah, I just get something in the back of my brain just looks at that and goes, ah. And so the cheapest slow moving zombie film can probably get me. I mean, the funniest thing for me to watch me ever is on watching a zombie film, because I am nervous looking, I am terrified, I'm a total wimp. Even watching them on TV on DVD or something, I pause a lot. I watch something like chunks. You know, even Romero films where I'm a big fan of George Romero because he's such a good director and so interesting. A lot of social points in his films, but the zombies themselves, even when they're blue zombies from Dawn of the Dead, they still creep me out. There's just something about them that really creeps me out. I mean, my favourite zombie film is Day of the Dead, the original Day of the Dead. It's not thought of as highly as the other early Romero zombie films like Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead. This one was viewed as a disappointing third chapter after the first two, and then other zombie films were released, and Romero made some other zombie films, and people started to realise how good Day of the Dead actually was, because it's nihilistic and it shows human beings at their worst. So the human beings are the scary things, not the zombies. And that's the things actually become the trope of the genre. Every zombie movie now, it's basically the people are survivors of what you should fear, not the zombies. Which is always a cool thing in a movie to show how dark we can be if we're backs against the wall. But it has become a trope. It's almost like now, it's like you can't do a zombie film where people are nice to each other as they try and survive. They have to be evil, they have to be awful, they have to be dysfunctional. You know, and it's like, we've seen it a million times now. And plus, Day of the Dead did it so well that every other attempt at that is a failure. Because I mean, the first Night of the Living Dead was a bunch of people, some were good, some were awful. There was a mix that felt kind of natural for the situation. Dawn of the Dead, you had all these people who were like news people and the military, and they behaved as such. I mean, they had good points and bad points, but they were normal people with these abilities. You did feel the humanity coming from them. They were regular people. You could feel like, I mean, the military guys were a bit more focused, but they did have some fun sometimes fighting the zombies, and they did have a sense of silliness at times, and it makes it affecting. That kind of get chucked out the window. Apart from Romero, I think Romero was the one that always went back to that. I mean, like, people would be experts, but they'd still have like good points and bad points. Day of the Dead was one where we went completely nihilistic, and there was only a few people who were decent, and the rest of the army, they'd been going for a while. People had lost their ability to be human. There was no difference between zombies and humans. Essentially, humans were so cold and inhumane that they were just zombies waiting to happen. And that whole atmosphere of that film was so dark and so oppressive that it's almost like the zombies are the background noise to these people behaving horribly. And I have a feeling that's kind of what's dominated. Like, they've always tried to go towards the thing of people are every day, but they always seem to go, to me at least, they always seem to go quickly towards the inhumane side of it. Like, the army's always going to be horrible and rapists and things. Where Romero himself actually showed the army as more incompetent in these films. He just showed them as they had a job, but they were people, and the organisation would collapse pretty quickly, and they'd just go on their own. Like, he didn't cause them, generally didn't make them the big bad of this genre. It was only when they were together and organised and one leader who was psychotic, as in Day of the Dead, where it became creepy. And then he allowed everyone else's worst side come out. But in a lot of Romero films, it was people trying to survive, people still ignoring the problems as much as they could, and people still behaving like the old world mattered in some way when it really didn't. Like in Land of the Dead, they did have taken over, and there's a safe spot where suddenly the class structures come back in, you know, and it's very noticeable. There's still racism, still sexism, there's all this horrible stuff going on, and it's still the flaw of people. And like in Day of the Dead, they go back to the beginning and show the people after during the first zombie outbreak and how they make all these mistakes and how people die because people do not know how to handle it. And Survival of the Dead is like these two old families still fight each other during a zombie apocalypse, still hold on to their grudges no matter what, and it's all about people, it's all about humans, and that's what's creepy with zombies, because they're still human, there's still some mechanism going on that makes it creepy. There's still, which they don't have in the fast moving zombies. The fast moving zombies are just running for food, that's all they are. You don't get that sense of what a person was before they became a zombie, which you do in the Romero films, and you do in a good zombie film, and that's what makes them creepy. So even in bad zombie films, I can project that onto them, like a person who was and now is blank, and that creates this sense of irrational fear. But it's not irrational, it's just actually, I'm tuned into that part of the horror of the situation, and it's just, I can connect to it really easily. So there's a lot of good zombie movies out there, and I probably miss most of them because I'm a coward. I mean, sometimes you get films that maybe with demons but they become zombies basically. Well, a lot of, some of them from Dusk Till Dawn, they're vampire movies, but the vampires kind of behave very zombie-like at times. You know, zombies become the kind of default mechanism for monsters in a lot of movies. Like, the monsters, they can behave like zombies, you know. That's just the way it goes. It's just like, it's an easy trope, and I think it's a trope that works now because people feel dislocated from the societies, from what they see their own soul. It becomes this thing of dislocation. I think that's why zombies have become the mass market thing for 20 years now for horror, is because it's a sense of dislocation, a sense of the world's gone wrong and we don't quite know how to fix it. So all the atmosphere of the early zombie films was kind of ahead of its time. It was kind of waiting for this era where people just feel like life lacks something important, and the zombie genre just kind of provides them some sort of comfort to a bit of fiction that kind of gets what's going on below the surface in your reality, where people have jobs that have no meaning, that are low paid, that are treated horribly. There's no way to get out of your rut. Everybody around you is the same way. Everybody's disgruntled and horrible to each other, and the people who try and be nice are kicked down basically. That's a typical zombie movie. It's become our society, and that's why it's become such an oppressive genre. That the vampire movies used to be, but they became old fashioned because they were fantasy that was much more based on capitalism and the limits of capitalism and things, and how cruel people can be to each other. But it was based on a social structure that had, you know, riches. Nowadays a few people have riches, but most people don't. Most people just have to try and survive. And the zombie thing just is in the feel of the culture at the moment. It's just something that's there, that's difficult to get away from. So zombies are just an omnipresent thing at the moment. They'll go away eventually and something will put someone else, but at the moment they just seem to be there. You know, cheap films to make as well, but I seem to have got his imagination because they are a metaphor for what's going on, and it's just scary image of your this exhausted shambling creature that resembles a normal person trying through their normal life now. They've got the kind of memories of the past, but they're so exhausted and so hungry. It's just a perfect metaphor for today, for the world today. That of course is going to be the big thing, because people can recognise it as something that relates to them. So that's my take on zombies. I hope you enjoyed this rambling video. I just thought it'd be interesting to try and talk about zombies and why I'm such a wuss when it comes to them. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back soon for another video. Bye for now.